go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned, thanks again, India's Feasibility Signal Summit 2005 edition. We're co-creating the India's 60-second trial readiness standard. And today, India's feasibility signal architecture. So again, important milestone for India. We're not just reviewing the feasibility concepts, we'll be co-creating them with the first national signal standard for site readiness. And you represent feasibility excellence across India. And your insights today will define how sponsors make decisions faster, more confident, with less ambiguity. So our goal is simple. India should not just participate in global clinical trials. We should lead activation globally. So just a quick introduction. I'm Stephen Thompson. I'm the founder of NexTrial.ai. My background is in clinical operations at Biogen and data engineering and R&D and oncology and vaccines at Takeda Pharmaceuticals, where we supported regulatory feasibility and enrollment modeling pipelines. And I've lived up through operational bottlenecks at the CRO side, on the sponsor side, as well as a part of global trial execution. And India has always stood out for one reason: the talent, the capability. And here are the world class, right? What's missing is the standard and a shared language. So wanted to just introduce, I'm joined here today by Damini. She's founder of NexTrial India. She's a partner deeply embedded in India's feasibility ecosystem. Veritrial's team is on the ground with PIs, coordinators, and feasibility teams every day. Their lived experience fuels the summit. So Damini, thank you for co-leading this with us. Veritrial India has been instrumental in shaping what we're reviewing today.
Thank you, Stephen, sir, for giving me an opportunity for the partnership.
So thank you, Damini. And why we're here today. So India is entering a new phase in clinical research, right? Trial volume is rising. PIs and site networks are expanding. ND, CTR timelines are becoming predictable. Sponsors are demanding much greater standardization. And we've all seen this firsthand. Feasibility decisions that used to be informal are now under global scrutiny. And when definitions vary from team to team, sponsors' decisions slow down. So today, we align on one shared view. Our objectives today are very focused. We're going to define high, medium, and low signals the same way across CROs, sponsors, and sites. Build a shared 60-second sponsor lens, how activation readiness is judged globally, identify where feasibility decisions in India slow down and why. We're going to capture your lived experiences anonymously through a Menti. So we'll begin shaping a national signal baseline that India can use going forward. This is practical, not theoretical. Everything feeds into a working model. And let me just scroll that down a little bit. Boom. Yeah, so let's anchor ourselves in the ground truth. When India feasibility slows down, it's rarely because the science is unclear. It's because we get caught in the operational friction points. Ethics committees review loops, documentation accuracy, SEC review variability, SOP maturity and differences, enrollment, realism, uncertainty. These delays aren't just paperwork delays. They change the site selection outcomes. They influence whether global sponsors choose India or look elsewhere. And here's the foundation we all share, right? NDCTR CDSCO forms, SEC triggers, CTRI timelines, and import license dependencies. But the key message is this. For feasibility, we don't need a whole rule book. You need 20%. That drives 80% of the variability and delay. So today's framework simplifies this down to the essentials. And this is the core of our session. Scroll that down a little. Oh. Yeah, this is the core to our session, right? The signal framework that gives feasibility managers, sponsors, and CROs the same language, 3 layers: high signal, proceed with confidence; medium signal, investigate further; low signals, risk to activation, right? When these definitions align, global sponsors build trust faster, and India accelerates activation. So let's go a little deeper. So high signals are the gold standard, right? These tell the sponsor the site will deliver. Ethics committees are aligned. PI capabilities, safety infrastructures in place, document completeness, SOP governance. And when these are strong, activation accelerates without negotiation. These are the signals that win India more trials faster. Medium signals represent uncertainty, not risk. They don't qualify a site, disqualify a site. They simply require verification, right? Enrollment realism, operational reliability, right? SOP consistency, logistics clarity, team staffing stability, right? These are often the biggest time sinks because global teams spend cycles trying to interpret what's actually happening by naming them clearly, right? We reduce ambiguity. So, and now we move down to the low signals. So these are the signals sponsors worry most about, right? There are the deviation behavior, the kappa gaps, the missing documentation, PI overextension, right? Trust signals from past studies. Every one of these drives activation risk. And when we can detect low signals early, we can save weeks, sometimes months, and in back and forths. So at a global level, right, sponsors make decisions fast. They look at 5 things under 60 seconds. Is enrollment realistic? Does the PI fit the protocol? Is the site actually ready? Does the safety history give confidence? And do the documents look clean on the first pass? Right, and our framework translates India's signal profile into this global decision layer. So how we do that is, this is where the signals converge into a structured, objective summary. The feasibility qualification graph, right? This brings it all together. A readiness signal, an enrollment dynamics, safety history, deviation behavior, and document confidence. This is sponsor grade visual. Instead of a long emails and uncertain explanations, you give them a signal, a view that answers, is the site activation ready? Right? So today, flip slides there, both. So India's biggest challenge isn't capability, it's inconsistency, right? Sponsors see different definitions across different teams. CROs repeat the same checks for each trial. Sites get different guidance depending on who's talking to them. And no one shares a clear definition of ready versus not ready. A national standard fixes this. It improves trust, reduces redundancy, and positions India as the most reliable market for activation. And here's a preview of what your Menti contributions will help shape. The matrix standardizes 8 domains across high, medium, and low signals, ethics committees, PI, safety, documents, enrollment, SOPs, risk, and logistics. This is a step towards India's unified feasibility baseline. So before we begin, we're going to do a Menti. Before we can begin that Menti, here's what matters. Your responses are anonymous. There's no right or there's no wrong. We want lived experience, not theory. Everything is aggregated into a version 1, and then we'll share that output with everybody that's participating. So your honesty is what makes this standard real. Any questions on the Menti? Please feel free to jump into the chat, ask any questions. We've got moderators here to answer those questions in the chat as well. Go ahead and raise your hand using the little raise your hand as well, and we'll take any questions. So again, appreciate it. I love these Mentis. They're super fun. So, you know, how this works is you can scan the QR code using your phone. Keep your responses short and practical. Use real examples whenever possible. And again, everything's anonymous. Think of this as India speaking with one voice. Now that we've completed the summit recording, let's walk through the insights that India has shared in real time. The patterns, the signals, the opportunities emerging across our feasibility community. Across India, activation delays consistently point to the same root causes: documentation gaps, ethics committees and ICF mismatches, enrollment realism, and operational chaos that creates avoidable friction. When we asked what truly determines immediate site acceptance, the highest priority signals were clear: safety infrastructure, EC alignment, PI compliance, and document accuracy every single time. Medium signals were where our timelines actually stretch, especially enrollment feasibility and contract readiness, which consistently added the most days to the activation. The low signals shape long-term sponsor trust. Deviation behavior, the CAPA closure, and local language ICFs, readiness, right, are the quiet indicators that determine reliability long after activation. India's feasibility packages are strong, but still missing key evidence, audit history, PI workload, safety details, and CAPA trends. These are the blind spots, and the new standard must solve. So our community aligned on what must appear in that first 60 seconds: the PI protocol fit, the EC and ICF compliance, safety readiness, enrollment probability, and CAPA behavior. The core of a deterministic feasibility. So participants overwhelmingly validated our approach. The feasibility qualification graph is the most trusted output, followed by the enrollment realism, risk maps, and compliance. The foundation of sponsor grade site clarity. So, and now we invite you to shape the India's feasibility signal standard, join the consortium, contribute your expertise, and co-create the readiness architecture for 2026, as defined in 2025 and beyond. Thank you.